Hey guys, Montel here, and welcome and thank you so much for tuning into today's free thinking. Well, look, I tell you, right around the corner, I'm going to say to everyone, happy holidays. And I'm not saying that to try to be politically correct. I'm trying to say that because I want to make sure I literally encompass all of my friends. I want you to have a really wonderful and Merry Christmas. I want you to have a blessed Christmas. I want you to have a really wonderful and happy, Kwanzaa. I want to make sure that you're no matter what your religion is, if it's Happy Hanukkah, I want you to have a Happy Hanukkah. But I really want you to have a really wonderful and prosperous and really, really, really safe New Year. Be careful out there this year. We've seen that in the last year, people have been a little bit, I almost want to say crazy. And there are instances where that craziness bleeds over into the public. So be careful, be safe, know your environment, take a look around you, see what's going on. As we ponder this holiday season, this is a time that so many people come together to share blessings. This is a time of the year when so many people pray for blessings, not just for themselves and their family, but for the world. And, there is so much to pray about right now. We're living in a time when, the world is a divided place, but maybe this holiday season can bring us all back together. I can look back and remember growing up as a child, and, I grew up in a family that we were, a family that I don't want to say struggle, but yeah, we were struggling. Were we middle class? No. Were we lower middle class? Yeah. Were we upper lower class? Yeah. I remember the Christmas time of the year was really tough, and I remember my mother, doing everything, and my father, but my mother really responsible for, trying to make the Christmas at our home as beautiful as possible. I think she started January 1st of every year, preparing for Christmas of the next year, of the coming year. She would start. I can remember, going to various stores, taking, an envelope that she would give me to various stores and going by the layaway office and putting the envelope in the layaway office, and the lady accepting it, looking at it, giving us a receipt. And my mother started paying for Christmas gifts again, like I think on January 1 of every year, knowing that by the time Christmas came around, she would have it all paid off. And it was one of those things that I remember distinctly because I used to think to myself, how beautiful this woman was. I mean, the fact that she wanted her family to have a really, really wonderful Christmas, that she would literally start thinking about it and working on it at the beginning of the new year. That was her New Year's resolution, to make sure she took care of Christmas for the family the next year. And she did that and did that well. There were times that I can remember knowing that, as a small child, and knowing that we weren't, in a position for her to save $1 here, save 50 cents there, save $2 there. But she did it. And, I'm telling you, every Christmas morning was a joy for everyone in the family. And every Christmas meal was a joy for everyone in our family and people that she could invite over to make sure that other people shared in a Christmas meal. So, that idea of sharing and doing more for not just your own family, but for other families is really what the Christmas spirit is really should truly be all about. You know, um, our guest today is is someone who embodies the understanding of sharing with families. Winston Churchill once said, "To make a living, I'm sorry, we make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give." As we enter the holiday season, it's a time to reflect on those less fortunate and in the giving of spirit or the giving spirit, what each of us can do to make someone else's holiday a little brighter. Some folks are secret Santas, others donate toys to tots, while others may give their time to help feed the homeless. Today, We're talking to the founder of a very special charity that was inspired by news stories of another person's kindness. Pay away the layaway, Mr. Lee Karchawer. Karchawer. Sorry, sir. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Most definitely. Thank you, Montel, for having me on. I'm very excited to talk to you today.
Absolutely, my friend. Tell me how you came up with the idea for this charity, Pay Away the Layaway.
Yeah, so it's kind of a funny story. I was watching the news as you mentioned. I saw on the news they were talking about an anonymous person that had went into a Kmart store and paid off over $20,000 of holiday layaway balances for families right before Christmas. And at the time, I was just thinking about the story. I was really moved and inspired. And I thought, man, I wish I had $20,000 to go do something so kind and generous. And it inspired me to actually set up a crowdfunding website. I called it Pay Away the Layaway, and raised a few $1,000s. Went up to a store in the Bronx and threw a Santa Claus hat on, surprised a bunch of families there at the store. And honestly, it was a life-changing experience for me.
Well, and the first time you did it, I think you did it for just a little bit over $1,000, but now Pay Away the Layaways pays off over $300,000 in layaway payoffs for people. How do you select the recipients?
Yeah, so the organization really grew over time. We've evolved, but the core criteria of how we identify families, first off, we look for families that have layaway balances. We have amazing retail partners that we work with, so we're able to go into stores like Burlington, the Army and Air Force, and the Navy Exchange stores, and we work very closely with them to identify families that are making an effort to pay off their balances. So we look for families that have a remaining balance. They've been making efforts to make a few payments on that balance. And ultimately, a big focal area for us is around the kids. So we look specifically for items that have children's gifts, essentials, clothes, backpacks, things like that.
Yeah, when did you decide to focus on the military? I mean, you started off paying this for general public, and then you shifted it over. I mean, I participated last year or 2 years ago with you guys and helped you when you went into an exchange and told family members that they were about to receive the gift. But what made you decide to help our servicemen men and women and their families?
Yeah, so in the first few years of doing this, as you mentioned, it was really focused around everyday stores that we're all used to, the stores like Burlington and Kmart and Walmart and so forth. And I had been sharing my message of what we were doing with Pay Away the Layaway on social media with friends, family, and a close friend of mine. She's actually a naval spouse. Her husband's in the Navy, and she was telling me that she was in a Navy exchange service exchange location, and that they actually offered layaway, and asked if I had heard of that. I honestly didn't even know that those stores existed, but I did more research. I was able to contact the commands for each of those stores, and it was
Realizing they're some of the biggest retailers in the world, right?
in the world. Amazing, incredibly incredible work that they do, and they're actually nonprofits themselves. And it's been a really fruitful partnership working with them, and such an honor to serve and help those that do so much for us.
No, I mean, you'd have to be raising probably 20 times what you're raising to pay off all the layaways at military exchanges. But um, how do you choose the locations for the surprise payoffs each year?
Yeah, so we've been really fortunate over the years. As you mentioned, we've grown dramatically from kind of me as an individual, just kind of as a hobby, kind of going around paying off layaways locally, to becoming kind of a national, even global organization. We pay off layaway balances all over the country and even on the overseas bases for many of our military partners. And ultimately, we try to go to different locations every year. Our donors sometimes ask us, "Hey, can we use this contribution to our local community in Pittsburgh or in Dallas or wherever they may be located?" So we lean heavily on our donors. We also try to find new locations, and we rely heavily too with our retail partners to see, hey, maybe there's certain stores that we haven't visited yet that we should be visiting.
Tell me, maybe you can tell us a couple of anecdotal stories about some of the families that you've helped.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, one of the most memorable stories for me. I went in very early on. Was lucky enough to be um, hit up by the NBC News. Got caught wind of what we were doing, and the writer there wanted to come along for the experience and kind of see it firsthand. So I went with him up to a store, went to a Kmart store in the Bronx. And that day in the store, I was sharing the good news that we were going to pay off everyone's layaway balances. We had kind of invited a handful of families down to hear the great news live and in person. And I was able to meet a number of families, but one in particular that stood out. Met a school teacher who was living in the Bronx, and she had literally the day before had just lost everything in a fire. No joke.
Mm.
Tragic event, and uh, we embraced, and it was obviously a very emotional connection. We really, that was the moment where I realized the power of kindness and what we were doing, and it went beyond just helping those in need to the impact that you can have if you really focus on trying to make someone else's life better, as you mentioned in that Winston Churchill quote.
Yeah, I mean, I think, right now we're living in a time when, just little acts of kindness go a long, long way, especially when we see so many, I don't know, I like to say so much inhumanity to man, but, things like what you're doing, this is when we talk about being kind to humankind. That's where the kindness comes from. What can people do if they wanted to help?
Yeah, so I'll just give a this isn't specific to pay away the layaway, but I think it's an important story and another great kind of anecdotal example. So the right around the time that COVID started, I had just moved upstate out of New York City, and I went to the grocery store, and if when you go to get like the tomatoes or the celery, and you put the little cellophane, you gotta try to open up the cellophane packaging. I
Right.
couldn't I couldn't for the life of me get it open.
Sometimes I'm standing there like for
I'm
5
just
minutes
like
trying to
rubbing
get
it.
those little dumb bags open. I can't do it. Licking my fingers, you know what I
Right.
mean?
My hands were so cold. It was right when right in the thick of winter, and I'm standing there for the life of me. I can't get it going. And a woman came up to me. She tapped me on the shoulder, and she took the bag, and she sprayed her fingers with like the water, and she was
Mhm.
able. It's a little tip there for your listeners.
Right.
You get your fingers wet. Apparently, it works a lot better. But just that little act, right? Like she took the time out of her day to see that I was struggling, and it totally changed my day. Like I called my wife, I told her what happened. Like it just she shifted my whole mindset. And I feel like people out there can do little things like that, right? Just taking the time to think about someone else, and that impact was exponential. I made it a point that day to try to do a couple of nice things for other people that I could maybe make an impact on their day, like the way that woman did for me.
Yeah, I was very blessed years ago, a couple of years back when I and my wife were married. When we got married, um, yeah, she lives in a small town in Jackson, Tennessee, and I remember, it was Thanksgiving like it is right now, and she and I went in the store, and just literally, I told the manager, everybody in the store right this minute, just close the doors, shut them for a second, tell everybody in the store if they want a turkey, go get one, bring it up to the register, and I'll pay for it right now. And we did that, and just tears your heart apart. A thank yous that you get from people who don't expect something. And there were other people. There was one I won't forget. There was a woman who was there and said, "Look, I won't accept this because I can afford my own turkey, but would you mind if I take one because I will give it to a family next door?" And I was like, without a doubt.
Yeah, I had a similar situation with pay away the layaway. We were paying off layaway balances. We had invited some families to come down, and one of the recipients came up and said, "Look, I love what you're doing. I don't need the help, but I've been inspired by what you've done, and I would like to donate to help other people." And we actually got a donation right on the spot from a recipient of our organization. And I was just very moved by that. That's exactly kind of what our mission is to inspire hope and spread kindness.
Well, can you kind of share with people who are watching and tuning in right now? If they have an idea for starting their own charity, what do they have to really do to get started? Because a lot of people think that this is just so daunting that they can't do it.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I started, and I never really intended for this to become a charity, to be quite honest. I thought this was just going to be a little thing that I was going to do locally in my area, and was just going to share it with friends and family, kind of in my small local circle. And was just very fortunate that it kind of caught the airwaves and kind of grew organically. But I encourage everyone, right? If you want to start it, if you want to start something, whether it's a nonprofit or any business for that matter, take the initiative, right? So if you're looking to start a charity, there's some simple things, business wise that you can do in terms of filing as an official 501c3. You can go on the IRS and kind of learn about what that process looks like. But in terms of kind of rallying and building something, I would take your idea, think about how you're solving it, think about why it's unique, and put a team together. I was lucky enough to have a lot of great support of others who kind of came along and offered some guidance and suggestions. But yeah, it's actually not as hard as you might think to start up something like this.
And is it still growing right now? I mean, if people wanted to find out more information, where do they go?
Yeah, so our website is payawaythelayaway.org. We are growing as an organization. You mentioned $300,000. That was actually a very exciting moment for us to be able to hit that number. But to date, we're actually over $2.5 million now in donations
Wow,
to the organization.
that's that's
And
incredible.
this is going to be our biggest year ever. We're going to surpass $1 million in donations for this holiday season.
And now I want you to give out the website again. And is there any place specifically that other members in the military can go to help donate? I mean, I know that, we have veterans I work with veteran organizations all across the country. And, I know that our vets and even our active duty service members um, want to give a hand up to their fellow service members. So do you specifically pursue that, or do you give them information? Holler, give them a shout out, let them know where they can go.
Yeah, for sure. So everyone can visit. Again, the website is payawaythelayaway.org. That's where you can go to our site and learn more. On the site, we have lots of information about the organization, specifically how we're working with military families. You can also go on. We're a volunteer-based organization. So in addition to donating, if you're not in the financial means, we're always looking for volunteers or people to help us spread our mission. So there's a tab on the site where you can learn more about becoming a volunteer. And specifically for those involved with the military, we do surprise events all over at every major base. We're probably going to hit most of them this year, and we're always looking for those who want to get involved, maybe show up to spread the good news, be there to share and kind of embrace with the families. So we're always looking for families that are on base.
Well, now, are you going to name a couple of bases that you may be at coming up real soon, so that people know that look over the show, they may hear the good news.
Yeah, for sure. So we try not to give away where we're going to go just yet, because
Okay,
it gives off the element of surprise a bit. But
gotcha.
we've been all over Fort Bragg, Fort Campbell, even overseas bases. We've been to Guam, we've been to Italy, Japan, you name it. I think we've been working closely. Not every command service offers or exchange store offers layaway, but for those that do, I think we've been to almost every single one to date, and have plans to try to hit as many as possible again this season.
Have you reached out to other nonprofits and let them know your mission, so that maybe they can also help you? I happen to be a trustee of the Fisher House organization, and they have locations. They're getting ready to reach their 100th building within the next 2 years. They're at 96 right now, but they're located almost at every VA hospital across the country, or where there's a VA hospital. There's one of them within 100 miles of almost every VA hospital in the United States, and even overseas. Um, have you reached out to organizations like that to see if they might be able to help you with your mission?
We have. I'm a big believer in the 1+1 = 3, right? Like the power of teaming up and making a bigger impact. We worked very closely with Soldier's Wish this past holiday season, who collaborated with us on a number of military payoffs. I watched your podcast with that group, with Fisher. Would love to connect, and any other nonprofit organization you might recommend. But we're always on the lookout if anyone's listening. Please reach out to us. Again, the website's payawaythelayaway.org. You can contact us through the site, and I'll personally get back to you.
Well, anything else you want to share, my friend?
Yeah, I just wanted to, again, remind everyone the power of kindness, taking just a little act to something large, whatever you can do to make an impact in other people's lives. I promise you that it will be impactful for your own life. And I encourage everyone to visit our website, again, payawaythelayaway.org. We're always looking for those that want to get behind our mission of inspiring hope and spreading kindness.
Well, thank you so much, sir, for what you do. And Leah, I got to tell you, Admirable that you deserve a pat on the back, and I know that that's not what you do this for, but you certainly do deserve that. And I want you and your family to have a wonderful holiday season. Stay safe out there. Keep yourself protected. As much as we like to think that, oh, well, we're finally on the other side of this whole COVID thing. I'm not sure yet. So let's make sure you stay protected, stay safe, and when you're out and about, keep an eye out behind you. You know what I mean? Watch your six.
For sure. Thank you again, Montel, and appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely, sir. And as much as we can do to help you share this message, we will. And make sure you pay close attention. I mean, I think Lee has really laid the groundwork here to just say, do what you can do. No, you may not all be able to go out and pay off every turkey at a register. No, you may not all be able to go pay off every single layaway, but you might be able to help that one family. And especially when it comes to veterans, I like to say, yeah, I love the phrase, "Thank you for your service." But, it's become just kinda like, a throwaway line these days. Let's do some things for thanking people for their service. You know, maybe you can't pay away a layaway, but what you might be able to do is knock on a door next to you where there's a veteran family there and offer to babysit the kids for one of the days on the holiday season so that the mother and father can go out and have a date night. Maybe you can, it's getting cold, so we're not cutting as much grass, but maybe when you run that driving lawnmower that you have, run it across the veterans lawn down the street. There are things that we can all do. Maybe when you overcook for Thanksgiving, like you're going to do, you could put together 4 or 5 plates, wrap them in aluminum foil, and take them down the street to that neighbor. Just do something. Reach outside of yourself. It's thoughts that are bigger than you. You live by the motto, doing for not just self alone. You get so much more out of it that you even could possibly believe. So again, Lee, I want to thank you so much, sir, for being here on Free Thinking with Montel, and make sure you tune into the next Free Thinking with Montel.
And we're here actually to surprise you today by paying off the remaining balances on your layaways. So
Nice, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. So much appreciated. Thank you.
I'm coming a better time.
Well, mine couldn't come at a better time. I just had a fire and lost everything.
Yeah.
Wait for a whisper, be still. Stay for an answer that
Thank you so much. Oh my God.
perfect song is yours to
Happy
take.
holidays to you and your family.
Heart inside, but your soul hides, longs to be revealed. You're beautiful. Don't hide it.
Awesome. This is just such a blessing because the stuff is for my grandbaby and I didn't have money to get their layaway out. They don't have pajamas, so I'm about to cry.
Paying it forward by helping neighbors afford presents for their families.
Nothing but God. He will do it every time. And I am just so grateful that my babies can have their pajamas.
And Burlington, happy holidays.
Thank you, shut up.
Stay away from the layaway.
I got my Christmas tree.
I had a Christmas corner. Thank you guys so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I forgot what I came to get.
Your basket? You don't want the basket?
They just told me to come up here for a promotion. That was it. I wasn't expecting all this.
Charnel Clark just couldn't keep in the tears when Detroit Pistons player Andre Drummond presented her with her full Christmas load of gifts, all paid off.
It was hard for me and my kids this Christmas. And so this is truly a blessing. I have 5 kids. I just had a son in September. And I'm a single mom. So this helps me out so much.
These gifts wouldn't have made it under her tree otherwise.
I was just going to cancel it out and just try to find another way.
All her happy tears and shock were shared by many others here today, all taking home Christmas cartloads. Their layaway balances selected specifically because they were made up of gifts and essentials for kids.
I've been paying on it for quite a long time, so to find out it's paid off completely.
It will put smiles on some very little special people today and in the 25th.
parent wants to have. LaToya Howard couldn't stop worrying about how she would pay for her cart full of Christmas gifts.
I did not know how I was going to get it off. And I was thinking I was coming here today and put a little down, and they called last night and I was driving and I had to pull over. I just want to say thank you. I thought it was a joke.
But it wasn't.
God is good. Thank you. Yes, Lord.
Pay Away the Layaway, a nonprofit organization, paid off 10 families' layaway plans at a West Dallas Kmart.
I was just laying back in bed and got a call and saying that they was going to pay it off for me. I jumped up out the bed like, what? Man. Never caught a blessing like this before.
As if this wasn't enough.
Thank you.
No problem.
Chris Middleton, the Milwaukee Bucks player, visited with families.
It means a lot. I mean, I'm in a position where I'm able to give back. So at a time, especially like this, families are going through tough times. Just be able to help them out, lift them a hand, and just ease their Christmas a little bit. It means a lot to me.
And it means a lot to these grateful parents.
Very good Christmas. I can stop worrying now.
Thank you so much. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Thank you very much.
'Tis the season.
We're here to pay your layaway.
For giving back.
Are we really thankful?
Reality star Kendra Wilkinson giving out plenty of hugs and gifts at this California Kmart. Teaming up with Pay Away the Layaway to help 18 families this holiday season.
Some of them came up with tears, some of them came up with big smiles. It was so powerful beyond words.
The national nonprofit organization focuses on kids' gifts and needs and is funded by donations from layaway angels like Kendra.
Being able to give, that feeling just sticks with you for a very long time.
From Baltimore.
Awesome. This is just such a blessing.
To Norfolk.
Payawaythelayaway.org is paying every single person's layaway.
This organization and its volunteers helping spread holiday cheer across the country. As for Kendra, no gift is too small.
Everybody thinks that they have to donate a big lump sum of money to bring people happiness. That's not even about that. People have donated $5, $10, $20. That goes such a long way.
You know, this is what happiness is.
When the store manager called,
if you're here for the 4 o'clock event, can you please come to customer service?
they thought they were in trouble.
I said, no, what could this be?
They had thousands of dollars in toys and clothes on layaway. Diane Nero's far from paid off.
And I really wasn't expecting to get it out really until after Christmas.
But this year,
I'm Dwight. This is Devin.
Christmas came early.
We've been blessed with the opportunity to take care of all the bills that you guys have on these layaway items. So they've been completely paid off.
For many, like Mary Jackson,
my layaway's paid off, and it's a blessing.
Their gifts are for children who might otherwise get nothing.
I just want to see kids happy, even if I don't get nothing back in return, but look what happened.
Pay Away the Layaway is a national charity collecting donations online, paying off tens of thousands of dollars in layaway accounts, this year in 30 cities, even getting NBA athletes to play Elf.
What was your favorite part?
The lady, how excited she was, you know what I mean? Just to, she unexpected, but just, really, really thankful.
The only person more excited than Diane about her layaway will be her 12 grandchildren.
They will get these for Christmas. Thank you. It's a blessing. Oh, man, I'm so happy. God is good.
How y'all doing? I'm Dwight. This is Devin. Play for the Dallas Mavericks. We're here in Burlington Coat Factory with Pay Away the Layaway, and we've been blessed with the opportunity to take care of all the bills that you guys have on these layaway items. So they've been completely paid off, and it's all on us. So hopefully that'll make the holidays a little more.
Pay Away the Layaway is a nonprofit organization that goes to different stores, which we have partnerships around the country, and we pay off the remaining balances on people's layaway products as a surprise during the holiday season.
It's great to be able to give back and trying to spread a little holiday cheer. It's definitely a fun experience, and everyone was happy and jolly, and it's great to see that in people in this time of year.
Thanks for joining me on Free Thinking with Montel. Please make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell to be notified when new episodes post each week. We'd love to hear your feedback, so please send us your comments.
Thank you.